Welcome to Attingo Talks. My name is Diana Feliz. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about car insurance. And if you've probably heard, you can put it on suspension. Now with less driving and all of the rest, does it really even make sense? Well, today we're going to invite Jessica Visser. How you doing, Jessica?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me back.
Let's just go. There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's awesome to have you back.
Thank you.
So Jessica, for everyone who doesn't know her, she's a chartered insurance professional. She's a registered insurance broker and an instructor for the Insurance Institute of Canada with over 15 years of experience in both the direct and broker channel. So we're getting a really awesome source. So Jessica, everything she tells you, make sure that you have your ears open. So Jessica, with less drivers on the road, and some of them are not even driving anymore with all of these changes that have been going on. Car insurance suspension. This is something that maybe might be new for me, maybe for others not. But what do we need to know about car insurance suspension?
It's a big question. We get lots of calls asking how should we be managing our insurance with the reduction in use of our vehicles. So there's two things to consider. If your vehicle's leased, you do need to obtain permission from your leasing company to remove road coverages because you don't own the car. So it's the same, it's basically it's rented, it's leased. So it's a very big piece. And I would caution, just be careful, if you're calling in or sending emails to your company or broker to just make sure, if you're having a leased vehicle, to remove coverages, you need permission. And in some cases, we've even seen leasing companies require the plates to be returned while the vehicle does not have road coverages.
And there's a period of time. So you might say, I'm not going to be using the car this week, so let me just not pay for car insurance. It doesn't quite work that way, does it?
No. So there is a minimum requirement of 45 days for the coverage to be inactive, I guess you can say, to be on suspended coverage. And the returned premium is allocated to your policy once the coverage has been added back. So at first you suspend the coverage, minimum of 45 days needs to pass. And then when it makes sense for you, or when you start driving again, when you are returning to work, or when you need to have that vehicle on a day-to-day basis again for driving, then you add the coverage back and the credit is then applied to your balance on your policy.
So there's things that can happen even with a car being still, right?
Yes.
What happens in the event of a claim? So a tree falls on your car and you weren't driving it. What do you do?
Yeah, so when your car is on suspended coverages, you are still having it insured for things like fire, theft, vandalism, damage by falling object. So you can rest assured that those pieces of your policy are still intact.
So you're not canceling your insurance.
Absolutely not.
Or getting a reduction in some type of cost. So it will still have some type of expense. You just get a reduced payment?
That's right. Yes.
See, that's really good to understand. So it's not as easy as we think. And even worse is what happens if an emergency happens and you need to take your car and go? That's a big
question too. Yeah, the answer is nope. The answer is you can't. Even in an emergency, if your vehicle's on suspended coverage, there is no insurance for it to be driven.
So with COVID happening, because before I understand that this is something that gets put into place if you have let's just say a summer car, right? A convertible, and you only use it in the summer months, so you put a suspension on it during the other months, etc. But now people with one car, before you might need two, right, to be able to qualify for this. But now even with one car, you can do this. So it's all been changed because of COVID, or you guys relaxed the exceptions of being able to issue these suspensions? Do you see an increase? Like, how has COVID changed this?
So we are seeing an increase in our clients where they normally would not be placing their one vehicle on suspended coverage, or if it's a two vehicle household, it is something to consider because there are a lot of discounts attached to having two vehicles insured with road coverages. So you might think, hey, you know what? I know I'm not going to be driving for a 45-day period. Let's see if that can make an impact on the amount of premium we're paying. And then you go and suspend the coverage on one vehicle, or you call your broker to ask how that would play out. And you find that you then end up losing discounts that the policy was qualifying for. And then it just doesn't make sense. So that was my own personal case for my own vehicles, myself and my husband. So it made no sense for us to park one of our vehicles because the difference in the returned premium just didn't make sense to then not have that car available in that potential emergency situation.
All right. So now, I mean, it's an option, especially for people who are not going to be using their car for a long time. But at the same time, you always end up having to call Jessica. So
Yeah.
make sure that you get that reviewed. Is this a good time to shop for car insurance?
So we always recommend paying attention to your renewal dates.
Mm-hmm.
Of insurance with almost every company are on a 12-month contract. So you do need to pay attention to those dates. But there are some times when it does make sense to break a contract and move. So always, especially if it's been a few years, don't worry about that renewal date. Give us a call. Let us do a review for you.
All right. All right. So I have a question here. Are the car insurances going down in price?
Well, that is a loaded question for sure. I will say that base rates in general tend to increase for the total of the population. Individuals can see a decrease or a new qualifying discount applied to their policy based on what's happened in their life in the past year. Sometimes, when people retire, they qualify for a new discount. You buy a new car that is less to insure, and you'll see that reflected in your premium. Maybe you move to an area that is less populated and so has less automatic base premiums for the territory and the geography. So those are ways that you'll see adjustments to your policy. But in general, the question as to whether or not policy premiums are going down there are honestly hundreds of factors that are taken into play. And so when you see on the news something about insurance premiums going down on average, don't listen, call your broker, find out how it applies to you, because it is in no way can we as individuals compare ourselves to even your next door neighbor, your parents, your best friend, your brother, your sister. Everyone is so unique and individual that it's best to really go through a proper review and a proper coverage analysis with a qualified professional.
Like yourself. So if it's time to get your car insurance in order or get it, my insurance is coming up for renewal soon. So guess what? We'll be talking.
I guess we'll be having a social distancing coffee via Zoom.
A social distancing coffee. I want to see how that happens. I understand the social distancing part, but let's see how the coffee works. But yeah, definitely we should and we will. So Jessica Weiser from Bryson Insurance, thank you so much, Jessica. And for everyone who's watching right now, we have an awesome invite for you guys for this Thursday. So we have an invite for a webinar that we're doing Thursday at 2:00. It's called Managing Cash Flow Disruptions. So if you want to learn how to optimize your cash flow and learn how to fix your financial, let's just say make some impacts to your financial future and fixing and identifying financial leaks, well then guess what? You don't want to miss this webinar on Thursday. It's hosted by Aman Sanga, Managing Cash Flow Disruptions. Thursday at 2 p.m. The registration link is in our comments. All right, so Jessica, you are invited to our webinar as well.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
So see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining. I know we have some other questions there. We said there, what's the cheapest car insurance provider? How to get it low? What can I do? Oh boy, Jessica, they're just like giving you the hard questions.
The hard questions. Again, I have to just reiterate that every person is different. there are dozens and dozens of factors that go into an individual's premium. So please feel free to reach out. Diana will offer my email address in the comments there, and I'm happy to have an individual conversation with anyone that is hoping to get some more clarity around the topic and hopefully shop for some better premiums.
Absolutely. And options there are. So thank you, Jessica from Bryson Insurance. Thank you all for joining us today. We will see you soon. And make sure you register for the webinar. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.